And we are live.
That's good.
Excellent. Very good. So I think we're going to wait a little bit until people connect. But thank you, Ellen, for joining us on this beautiful day.
Thank you for having me. I went out in the breeze.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure.
It's really great. It's great to be with the two of you and whoever else is here. Yeah.
Wonderful.
We're really happy to have you. The March is a special month, this March or any March, and actually any month because of so many things that we can celebrate. And I know Emma will speak a little bit more, but we're here, we are happy, we bring music to people, and I think that's something to also celebrate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
It's the best. Every part of music is the best. Reading it, playing it, singing it, writing it, rehearsing it. It's all the best. Performing it. It's all so much.
Absolutely.
Every process.
Yeah. And the arts have been so much challenged since last year. So it's going to be good when things start to open up and we can resume our lives and performances as well.
Yeah.
To perform again live. That's going to be.
It's going to be incredible. And
okay, so people are starting to join. Yes, rehearsing together. That's something that I really miss.
That's the worst. That's kind of the worst because you do 10 rehearsals and one performance. So the rehearsals is a lot of it, and it's so intimate and so delicious and so wonderful. To miss I miss it horribly. I've had to send some piano parts around to people with songs, for them to perform with, and it's crazy. I mean, a lot of my music is very spare, as you guys know, and if the singer has the pickup to go into a phrase and the piano, I would happily breathe with the singer and go wherever the singer wants to go. And now I have to make up where the singer's going to go, and then the singer has to figure out what I made up.
Yeah,
it works amazingly well. I mean, it works unbelievably well. And I just use my cell phone, which is just ridiculous. Pretty good sound, but
it's pretty decent, actually.
Yeah,
surprisingly enough.
Yeah, it is very good sound. But to work that way instead of being with the person and breathing with you and feeling it out and saying, oh, what about, let's go a little slower here, or a little faster there, or all that's the most juicy stuff and the whole stuff.
Yeah, the exchange.
Just
yeah.
I think we can start. What do you? Let's go ahead, and people will keep coming in. So welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our one-on-one DictionBuddy podcast. So I'm Emma Lavandier, and with me is Vita Korenieva. We are both singers, and we are co-founders with Kofi Hefford of DictionBuddy, the mobile app of lyric diction. So this month, we are celebrating Women's History Month, and we are thrilled to host Ellen Mandel. Hi, Ellen. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure. So let me start by giving a brief introduction. So you are a composer of art songs and theater music based in New York City. You have written songs to poems by E.E. Cummings, Seamus Heaney, W.B. Yeats, Glenn Maxwell, and more. And you have composed music for over 80 plays from Shakespeare to Stoppard. You have been praised by the New York Times, who said that your songs to poems are ardent, spiky, and refreshingly organic. You also received accolades from NPR, a striking collaboration the playful poetry of E.E. Cummings, set to music by New York composer Ellen Mandel, and sung beautifully by Cincinnati tenor and actor Todd Almond. I wish I could give it to every poetry lover I know. So let me start by asking you about your background, your professional career. What brought you to music in general and to the composition of songs more particularly?
Well, I started as a piano player. My mother was a very, very good pianist and was brought up. She was from a very poor family in New York, and somehow actually got piano lessons at this place, the 3rd Street Music School Settlement, which was founded to provide music for, poor kids. And she actually was born and lived on 5th Street, and this music school is on 3rd Street, and I live on 9th Street, so it was right in the same neighborhood. And I actually worked at 3rd Street, which now is on 11th Street, just to confuse everybody a little bit more. The 3rd Street Music School is on 11th Street. But so she got lessons, and she must have been very, very talented. And she told me she played one time for silent movies. So it's a long time ago. And I guess she managed it, but she was petrified, I think, having to cover all that kind of activity, musical activity. They would have books. Doing music for theater, I've delved into this a little bit. And the silent film people had compiled huge volumes of music from through the ages that would be for a romantic scene, a dramatic scene, an army scene, all this kind of thing. They'd have a little piece of music from Beethoven and from Verdi and from whoever they could steal it from. Rossini, people know the Lone Ranger, but music for whatever mood. And so she, I think, maybe played only once. She told me when she was much older, and I think it was too much for her. But when I was little, she was playing all the time, mostly Chopin, and she played really well. But she was from a very poor family, and she needed to get, as soon as she finished high school, she went out and started getting jobs. But that's what I first heard, piano playing. And then she was, married my father, and he's an attorney. He was an attorney. They were doing better. So I think she got me piano lessons. That was a good thing, and which was great. And so I had piano lessons, and then I went to college. I went to Harvard. I studied philosophy. I did no music, which was really too bad because I could have had terrific music. Walter Piston was a professor there, great composer and theorist. But I didn't do any. But after college, I was like, well, what am I going to do? I wrote my thesis on aesthetic expression, in particular song. And I was listening to Lieder. I discovered Lieder, Schumann and Schubert, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And that's why I took some German to be able to at least understand the words and look them up in the dictionary, find out what was being sung. And so after college, I was looking around for what to do, and I went back to playing the piano, and I had lessons from a wonderful teacher, Goodwin Samuel, who died recently, about a year ago, at age 94. Just an incredible, wonderful mentor beyond words. I studied with him only a few years, but his teaching of piano completely changed my whole everything musically. And then started performing in little clubs with my boyfriend, now husband, and gradually gravitated towards theater. And I got a job in an improv comedy company, and you had to make up the music. And so then I was doing that for, it was a super amount of fun. I mean, you're just like, they'd have some scene and you'd make up stuff for it, I was like, well, I bet I could write music for an actual play that was pre-written, and that I would write the music in advance, and really tailor it. And I started getting some theater jobs. And then after I'd been doing that a while, I was just thinking, I want to write some art songs. I want to write some songs to poems. And I had a little list on a little card of who I would set. And the first person on the list was E. Cummings, and a friend of mine, a tenor, Daniel Potronitsky, sent me just literally right then, when I had a little free time, an envelope. He wanted me to set 4 Cummings songs and 4 Cummings poems and 2 of his own poems. He's a wonderful poet too, for a recital that he wanted to give. So that, set me off, and that was just, the right thing at the right time is just great. So that's, what got me started.
What about instrumental music, Ellen? Do you write any, or it's mostly vocal?
I've written some. Mostly for theater, because a lot of the theater and the music that I've done for theater is mostly for straight plays, not for musicals. Although I'm always happy if there's ever a song, because in a theater setting, the music is just setting the mood, setting the location, that you can feel, make it Italian style or make it Russian style or make it 20s style, all that kind of stuff really communicates fast in music. So if the director wants 1920s Italy, then I'm writing stuff like that. And then in the theater setting, usually they don't want vocal underneath a scene or into a scene, because the people are going to be talking.
Distracts, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I've written a lot of instrumental music for theater, but not so much just free form. Some free form, but then a lot of songs. I don't know. I even in theater, I love the combination of the words and the story, and the music and the feeling. The feeling is all in the music. I did a score. I won't say for whom, for a documentary, and I had written some music, some underscoring, and the director said, well, this is a documentary, so it has to be completely objective, so there can't be any feeling in the music. So I think I fooled him to thinking there was no feeling in the music. But the minute you play a note, the minute you sing a note, there's feeling in it. That's just what music is. It's filled with feeling. I find that hilarious.
But each key has its own feeling.
Yes, every single note has feeling in it. Whatever you do, you can't avoid it. There's feeling in there. It could be a different kind of feeling.
That's an impossible
That's a strange thing to say.
Wonderful.
So what is your approach to the text? How do you choose a particular poem? If we talk about art song, for example, and you've composed many, what is your approach to text, and how do you relate it to music? What is your inspiration?
Well, I when I want to write something and I have a feeling like whose poem I want to set, I just start reading, just collections of their work, his or her work. And I just look for something that looks like it could become a song to me. And some of the E. Cummings, well, one of the ones that my friend sent me in the first place, Jimmy's Got a Goil, which is a jazzy, humorous poem. And the way it's laid out on the page, Cummings was very particular about the lay. So the way that poem was laid out on the page, it virtually wrote itself. I mean, I will take credit for writing it, but I could just see how it should be from how he laid it out. And because it had a repetition, it's Jimmy's Got a Goil, oh, for such a girl, and then the last verse is gal. So there's wordplay, but you can see that they're set up, in a strophic kind of way. So, that was a very clear example. Then some of them are just, there's one, Oriental. I looked at that, it's very sexy, dreamy, and I'm just like, oh, this looks like it could have kind of a Latin feel. I could just, I just feel it. And some poems, clearly, I look at them and I'm just like, I just can't make a song out of this. It's a great poem. Maybe I like it. I only read stuff by people whose work I like. I mean, why would I do something else? And
you need an inspiration, absolutely. It has to come from the right place.
So if I don't like it, why would I set it to music? It has to feel like something to me. And some poets, I've written a couple of songs to Wallace Stevens, and I like the songs I've written, and I've read a lot of his stuff, many of his poems look to me, you know, I start to read it and it looks to me, oh boy, this could be a great song. It's got great atmosphere and it's even talking about guitars or an evening with music. And then all of a sudden he'll throw in some long, fancy word that to me feels like show-offy. Like he's showing off that he has a big vocabulary and he's very intellectual. But mostly if poems are still in copyright, when you need to get permission to set them to music. I mean, you can set them to music, but to do anything further with the song, you need to get permission. So the ones that are in copyright, in my experience, they all tell you, you cannot cut anything. So, you know, if you're going along, it's great, great, great. And then there's something that just doesn't look song-like at all. It's, you know, I'm gonna
totally use my, go ahead, please. No, I was joking because I actually write poetry and songs as well. But I'm like, I'm gonna totally use my position right now and allow Ellen to cut anything she wants. If she'd like to write the music.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. I mean, you know, with Shakespeare or anything out of copyright, you could do whatever you want. Although I tend to want to be faithful to the text. I've said a bunch of Thomas Hardy stuff, and in a couple of places there were words that to the contemporary ear you just wouldn't know what he was talking about. And since they're out of copyright, I've made like a small change. That's it. I just you know, try to honor the writer.
What about the voices? And I think when we were preparing for the call, you know, the biggest, us as a singer, the biggest, I don't want to say issue, but sometimes it's really a question mark. Why would the composer put some lines in such an awkward way, right? Why the melody is not flowing? That would be natural for the voice. It's as if they don't think about the voice when they write, as compared to all well-known and loved composers, you know, like Verdi, like Tchaikovsky and Rachmaninoff were, and Rimsky-Korsakov especially, as you know, some Russian, I can speak for that. They were absolutely so helpful to the singer, and their music was emphasizing the language. So what is your approach to that? To the voice and the language, second part.
Yeah, well, that's extremely important to me. I mean, I want the singer to enjoy singing the music, you know, physically and mentally and musically and spiritually. You know, I want the singer to enjoy it. I mean, otherwise, well, I mean, it's good for me if the singer enjoys it, because then maybe they'll sing my music. But I just feel that's part of it. You know, why would you want to write something that the singer would not enjoy? I can't understand. But
no, because when the music flows, it flows, and you know, write it down, but you don't have necessarily a deliberate, mindful regard for how it's going to fit a human voice. And we know there is a different gradation, different tracks, whatever, but the main categories, you know, tenor, baritone, bass, soprano, and mezzo, they have their own vocal, I don't want to say limitations, but ranges, right?
I try to fit in with the voice. I mean, I want it to be good for the voice. And when I'm working with my favorite is writing something, trying it out myself, which is rocky, but I have to do something to hear something. and then get together with a good singer and see, you know, how do they feel? You know, how is it sitting? I don't really have a strong attachment to the key that I write something in. It's just because I sit down and I start and it goes somewhere. So if it's too low for a singer, I don't mind transposing it up. If it's too high, I don't mind transposing it down. The only limitation is if the whole quality of the song changes by going so far, you know. But and as far as that kind of thing, like what sounds will be makeable, you know, for the singer, easily achievable in a certain place. I try to be mindful of that, and I also, you know, I want to get feedback from whoever is actually singing it, whether that, for example, I wrote a long piece on the Sphinx from the Jean Cocteau Infernal Machine. There's a terrific scene between the Sphinx and Oedipus, and the Sphinx gives a long speech about all of her powers. And I thought that this would make the greatest vocal piece, you know, because it's just actually for Women's Month. The Sphinx is, in this case, the Sphinx is portrayed as a young girl, attractive young girl, and but she's still the Sphinx. And so she's got all these powers and whatnot. And so I, you know, trying to convey all this different stuff that she says in the music. And at a certain point I had written kind of a jump, and a friend of mine said, oh, if you start it lower and then move it up, it will be easier for the singer. I was like, oh, thank you for telling me that. I mean, it was just so great to just get the consonant out of the way in the beginning and then go up there and, you know, have the note, you know, so that kind of thing. I mean, I'm grateful for that kind of feedback, because I can sing, but I don't sing like you guys sing, you know, I sing.
So I have been checking out your website, and you have beautiful, you know, audio tracks there that anybody can go and check out. It's ellenmandel.com, correct?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and which, like, you know, when we write or when you write music, do you have any particular pieces that just maybe closer to your heart than others? Your favorite pieces that you thought were very successful? Would you maybe name a few, if it's possible? Because sometimes it's not possible to even separate those out.
It's so funny, because some things I've even forgotten that I wrote. I saw something. I got an email the other day from a gentleman who found out that I had written a couple of settings of Edwin Arlington Robinson. I for a while I was working at this place where I found Emma, the Cornelia Street Cafe, and which was wonderful. I'm so glad I came to that evening. It was an evening of French and German poems. I was like, this sounds great. I'm going.
It was a French and American song, yes.
French and American, and I was like, I got to hear this, you know. So I went, and Emma was just brilliant and fabulous, and the woman you were singing with was also very good. So we hit it off, and now here we are. But my favorite, so this gentleman found out, you know, I worked at Cornelia Street doing these birthday celebrations for poets, and that was great for me, because it would be, in this case, Edwin Arlington Robinson, who I'd read a few poems of but didn't know really anything about, and they would have me, and I could set a few of the poems and get a singer in to perform, and then they would have actors reading the poems, just reading. So here was this several songs that I wrote, and I had one in mind. I've kind of thought, oh, I want to go back to that one. And this guy asked me about one, and I had not thought about it and had not looked at it since I wrote it, which is about 6 years ago. I was like, I pulled it. I was like, oh, interesting. But I do have some songs that I think that I really like. In particular, people like "To an Isle in the Water," the Yeats setting, and I like that too. It's very yearning. People call it "Shy One" because the beginning of the poem is "Shy One, shy one, shy one of my heart." It's very tender, beautiful poem. One of my Cummings ones, I love Jimmy's Got a Goil because it's so much fun. But there's one called "Now More Near Ourselves Than We," which is about, I call it the bird song. It's about now more near ourselves than we is a bird singing in a tree. And it's just a tender, sweet poem about a bird. He never sings the same thing twice, but all his singing is always his. And then it says, if the world should break in two, his singing would bring it back together. His song's so true. I mean, I'm getting a little about it. So I like that one. It's a very very simple setting. Another one of mine. Well, this is really feeling a little strange to say. Another of my songs that I like.
That's it. That's all right.
I wouldn't put them out if I didn't like them. You know, I wouldn't mention them at all. You know, but I wrote a song to a Seamus Heaney poem called "When All the Others Were Away at Mass." That's also quite simple. It's about it's a setting of a sonnet. He wrote a series of sonnets for his mother when his mother passed away, and this is a scene he remembers when he was little, when everyone else had gone to Mass, and he and his mother were sitting peeling potatoes. And then, and you know, the little sound of the plunking of the potatoes into the bucket of water and how they were working together. And then there's a little, and then that's the first part of the sonnet. And then there's a little break. I have a little bit of instrumental. And then it's like, so when the parish priest at her bedside went hammer and tongs at the prayers for her, for the dying. So it's like he remembers this wonderful time. And now, he's saying she's dying. So when she was dying, he remembers this beautiful time when they were so close, her breath and mine, our fluent knives. I forget the adjective. Never closer the whole rest of our lives. And
that's deep.
Oh, it's so deep. And I think pretty much everyone maybe has a feeling like that. Maybe the person hasn't passed away, but just that feeling of being so close to someone and working together. It's brings so much closeness. So that's another one that I like.
Well, I think we're gonna try to actually play.
Well, let's see if we can work this out. So on your website, you have a couple of videos, actually. There's one called Come My Way, Go Yours.
Oh, yeah, that's a jazzy one.
Would that be a good choice?
Sure.
Let me see if I can work that out.
Oh, very cool.
Hold on.
You actually do have quite a bit of jazz influence, I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it comes right out in the jazzier lyrics. I love that jazz feeling.
It's not deliberate, right? It just comes out.
Well,
for you,
it feel like in this "Come My Way, Go Yours." I've worked with this poet. He's a great guy, British guy, and he was in town. He writes verse plays, and I've done the music for a number of his plays for Phoenix Theater Ensemble, a small, great company, and so he did a reading when he was here in New York, from England. And he read this poem first thing in the reading, and I was like, I've got to make that into a song. It's just, it hit me on the head, and it just felt really jazzy to me. So I made it a jazzy song. This is
Here we go.
Okay. Yeah, great.
Let me try to play that. Let me see. If you don't hear it, just let me know, okay?
We're not.
You're not hearing? Hold on 1 second.
I don't hear.
Who is the pianist?
Wendy. Wendy. Something like Loeb Cohen. I'm so sorry. I'm not remembering her name exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to. Okay.
Krober Cohen. She did a great job. Yeah.
Let's try it again, Emma.
Okay, I think it's going to work now.
Never had let me know me well. Tell of a world that was little to tell. Say I was heavenly, say I was hell. Carry me over the blasted moors, but come my way. Go yours, never have touched me, take me apart, trundle me through my town in a crowd, figure me out in the air chart, finally out to the feet of Mars, and come my way, go your Never have ready. Look at me now. Get on doing it. Don't give up. All the way wrong. Have a rest. Have a run. Have skirmishes with the odds. Oh, come my way. Come my way. Go yours. Go yours. Never have left me. Never come back. Mourn me in many skirts. Take me in black. Undress and undress when I'm back. Yet past for eternity. I come to come my way. Come my way. Go yours. Come my way. Go yours. Go yours. Never have met me. Never do. Never be mine. Never even be you. Approach from a point that's impossible to. At a time you don't have and these flowers. Come my way. Come my way. Go yours. Go yours. Come my way. Go yours. Come my way, go yours.
It's so light, it's so fresh, and I can actually see and hear this song in a movie somewhere.
Oh, that would be so great. I would love that. Yeah, that would be great. I thought she did a great job with it. And that's an example. She also, the two of them, recorded separately because of COVID.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a beautiful singer. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well done. I thought so too.
Everything was wonderful.
Yeah.
Great performance.
Yeah, great.
I want to hear more now.
Yeah, go ahead.
She also recorded all the, I put in just a little bit of harmony on that, optional harmony. And she recorded the harmony voices as well, which I think adds a lot,
Oh, I think it's great. I was like, wow, there's a chorus there.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It's very well done. So I'm just going to scroll to see so that everyone can see all the pieces you have actually on your website. There's a bunch of them.
Emma, you actually did sing one of Ellen's songs in one of our concerts.
I did. So when we met, when was it? A couple of years ago now at the Cornelia Street Cafe.
Yeah.
So Ellen told me that she composed some French songs after poems by Baudelaire and Verlaine. So one of the great French poets of the 19th century. And so that's when we started to work together. And I really loved singing Ellen's songs. First of all, I have to say, the French is very well set to music. Oh. And it really follows the inflection of the language, which is, we all know so important in songs and in art songs in general. And also I have to say, musically and vocally, it really made sense. We were talking earlier about the collaboration with singers and how it's important that composers understand the voice when, composing vocal music. And for me, it was just natural, the way it was said, the phrasing, everything was right about those 3 songs. And so we worked on them together. We had a lot of fun. And then we put together a concert with other songs from by other composers. And yeah, that was great. And I hope we can do it again, after.
I hope so. Yeah.
Ellen, what inspired you to write and to set the music for French lyrics? And please let us know how you approach this. Is it just French? You mentioned German.
Yeah, well, I've only set French because French I know well, and German I can just can look at it and look things up in the dictionary. I mean, I know very little German. Just I took 1 year in college. And Italian I know quite a bit better than German, but not nearly as well as French. So I haven't, but I opera ensemble. They perform some of my stuff. They do. They were going to do a boat there.
We probably should start.
So they asked me to write one. So I wrote the first Le Chat 1.
So it was a commission, essentially. We missed a few words you were saying.
Yes, yeah, it was basically a commission, but they didn't say what I had to say. And I like cats, and that poem is so great. It's just such a great, sexy poem. It was like, okay, it was screaming at me to make into music. It's sort of like the Come My Way, Go Yours. You just sort of go like, this is just it, And then I did another Le Chat, Le Chat 2, and then Chevaux de Bois, which I'm which I'm glad that I haven't listened to the Debussy Chevaux de Bois before I wrote my own, because that would be, you just say, oh, nobody can do better than that because his writing is so fabulous. But since I hadn't heard it, I went ahead and I found that the version that I set is not the exact same version that Debussy set. So that's also comforting. There's a few, it's sort of the same, but sort of different.
Yeah, there are 2 different versions of that poem for some reason. So you took the other one, you're good.
His poems are also very, very musical. I mean, they just call to you,
Oh, Verlaine is extremely musical.
Yeah.
I love this poet. It's just...
It's gorgeous.
When you work with singers, Ellen, what do you pay attention to? How do you gravitate to which singer you pick to perform your song or maybe record your song? What is important? Is it the voice? Is it how they feel your music when they sing? Is it diction? Is there any other aspects that's important for you as a composer?
Well, finding singers who want to sing my music. I mean, that's just so wonderful when somebody wants to sing my music, and just through connections. Todd Almond, who I worked with for quite a while, and he's gone off in other directions. But we met at a theater. He was acting and singing at a theater, and we got together, and he sang a couple of my things, and I was like, oh my God, I just love the way he sings. I love. And he was like, I love your songs. So, we started working together, and it's been that way, just chance meeting and getting together with someone and then seeing how it feels. Then that's who I work with, like Emma, I heard her, I said, she's great. I love this. We got together and it felt great. Sometimes it doesn't feel that great or the direction is kind of different, what the person is looking for or wants to do. People have different schedules and stuff. And sometimes people have just found my music, which is wonderful. They just find it somehow. And this Audrey Yoder, who we just heard Come My Way. I don't know. I forget exactly how she found me. But, and then I've never been in the same room with her. I've never worked with her personally, but I love what she did with that song. So she's in California, I'm in New York, you know.
Yeah.
What's going to happen there? But it's when you get together with somebody, you can feel how it feels, and if it feels right, and then if the person's calendar and schedule, if that's what they want to be doing, you know, you can feel that too. If it's just like, well, this is just one of many, or really I'm auditioning for Broadway, or I'm auditioning for operas, or you know, whatever it is, you can tell. I've gotten together with a lot of incredible singers, some of whom haven't had a chance to sing my stuff, but I'd be happy if they would. Just wonderful singers.
So what if it is an unknown singer that just loves bringing new music or new pieces to life, to the public eye?
Yes.
How would they go about approaching you, or would you even consider working with somebody unknown?
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Sure. Why not? I love working, you know, and people some people who have found my music, and then, you know, I see a video of them or hear a recording, and I'm like, wow, thank you. Thank you so much. If they were here, I would be happy to work with them. I would be thrilled. Many times they're, you know, in Ohio or California, someplace else, but absolutely. No, you know, you just feel it when you get together with someone. You guys, you know that too.
So they can go to your website and basically write you.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Please write me. I'm happy to send scores and get together if people are here. I've gotten together with a lot of people, and then like there's a young woman who moved to Germany, but somehow I don't even remember how we got together here. And then she is in Hamburg, and she did a concert of songs relating to water. I guess Hamburg is a port. And so she did some of my songs that, you know, To an Isle in the Water, Meditation of the Old Fisherman, songs that relate to water. She put in a concert. You know, we got together very cordially and wonderfully once, maybe twice. But, you know, she's in Germany, I'm here. So we don't get together that often.
I mean, as much as we crave one-on-one, which we all hope is going to be the reality very soon, isn't it wonderful that what you just described is possible when somebody is recording your music in Germany and you're here in New York, and you can then hear the result of that collaboration?
Oh, it's incredible. It's fantastic. This couple, a couple in Germany, Ellen Lindqvist, and her husband is Philippe Vogler. They have a website called Art Song Project, and they recorded a couple of my songs on there. It's a great website. They're, you know, I'm thrilled to have my stuff on there. And they recorded To an Isle in the Water and one of my Wallace Stevens songs, Gray Room, so gorgeously. I mean, and I've never met them, and we haven't even FaceTimed or Zoomed. And now I'm realizing as we're talking, oh, I could see if they wanted to do a Zoom just to say hello to each other, you know. But they did an incredible job. And just some people can just read the music and they get it, the feeling, you know, everything that I want to have in there, plus everything that they add. I mean, I just put the stuff down, and then what you singers bring back is so incredible. That's why it's so much fun to get together, because I'll be playing and Emma is singing, and I'm like, oh, this is just heaven, you know, because I didn't put all that expression and all that you know, it's in there, but it's not in there till somebody sings it, you know.
The power on voice, yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Heaven. Yeah.
Okay, so we have some great comments that have been coming in. So we have Lisa. Ellen's music is beautifully written and so very singable. A sheer joy to sing. All singers should run her songs through the pipes.
That's great.
She's a wonderful singer, Lisa Dalen. She's a wonderful singer, beautiful soprano, a beautiful, rich voice. And she found my music. She's been singing. Actually, she's going to sing some Wednesday in a concert, on an online concert, which I have I've shared it, I think, on Facebook. I have to share it again.
Nice.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I'm thrilled that she sings my stuff. Yeah.
That's great.
We have Antonio Watts, who said charming for the video that we showed. And we have our friend, hold on, Felix Harar, who is also a great composer.
Yeah.
Yes, Ellen, yes, Audrey Yoder. Yes, yes.
For that song.
I think we met through Audrey Yoder. He had, she arranged some kind of a Zoom thing a couple of weeks ago, and he had songs on it, and I had songs, and one other composer, Lisa Nera, also had songs on it. So that's how we know each other, through Audrey.
Beautiful.
That's how it happens, and you guys know this, that one connection leads to another, and it's wonderful.
Oh, that works.
Yeah.
So what about upcoming sorry?
I was just saying, Felix is a wonderful composer. Yeah.
He is. Absolutely.
What about your upcoming projects, Ellen? Anything you'd like to share with us?
Well, yeah, I'm working on a project with another wonderful singer, Daniel Neer, who also writes. And we had done a song cycle a few years ago on his haiku. He wrote a series of haiku based on living in New York. You know, haiku, very, very short poems. And he had the idea of doing a cycle of songs of these haiku, coming to New York, being an artist in New York. So I wrote 12 of those, and that's one cycle. And now we've been working on a cycle based on his haiku, based on Edward Hopper paintings. So he's written a bunch of haiku inspired by specific paintings by Edward Hopper, you know, the guy who did the painting Nighthawks of the Empty Diner. There have been a lot of satirical versions of that online since COVID, like instead of 3 people, nobody there. You know? But anyway, so he's a wonderful painter, Edward Hopper. And Daniel and I had the idea that he would write some haiku and I would set them to music. So that's kind of the big project that I've been working on for a while. I think I have 10 or 11 songs. And the first series of haikus, somehow they felt, because haiku are so short, they felt that the songs could be quite short. Some of them are like 30 seconds. But this one, because they relate to these paintings, which are extremely powerful and deep, I felt like the songs had to be a bit longer. So that's been challenging because you still only have the 17 syllables of words but if you want more music, you know, how do you get that? So that's
so short.
Yeah, because that's been, you know, what will bear repeating? What can I do with just some vocalese here and there that will carry the feeling that I want to put in, you know, not just be like I'm repeating. Although some, you know, pop music is just repeating. Nobody seems to mind. So but I feel too much is, you know, enough is enough. So I've been doing, that's been a major thing. And another few, I just wrote another Cummings setting that I have some Xeroxes and folders of poems that have been, you know, I felt would make good songs. And that now with no performing and no theater and pretty much no rehearsing or anything, have a little more time to, you know, get to those.
Are you planning to write music on poem in French or other languages? More French or
definitely more French? Yeah, definitely more French. I haven't really looked at other languages because I don't know them that well. So I might be close to being able to read Italian. I've done a little translating of German for theater. Production of Measure for Measure that the director set in Germany, like 1920s Germany. So we had some Kurt Weill that went that we changed the lyrics of, and some of those were from German. So I helped the two of us sat together and adapted the lyrics to fit, you know, this situation. But I don't know if I could really set German. I don't know it well enough, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave that to Schumann and Schubert.
So more French songs to come, right?
Yeah, yes, definitely. Definitely. I feel like as soon as possible.
I'm putting pressure on you, Ellen.
No, I like it. A little, not pressure, a little inspiration. Inspiration is good. Inspiration and motivation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So in the new world, Ellen, what would you speak, what would you want to say to singers who are finding their ways, you know, under the circumstances that we're in, and, you know, still wanting to continue the music and continue their singing and, you know, creative process? What would your thought process be from their perspective, but also from a composer perspective? What would you like to see yourself?
Well, I think now, I mean, maybe things are going to open up and we'll get back to 2 people in a room and 5 people in the room and all the good stuff. But until then, I think doing like what we're doing now, just use every bit of technology that you can to communicate with people, because it does work. It actually does work. And it doesn't have that particular joy of being so close, but there's a lot of joy in it. I mean, this for me, it's great, you know, and hearing other people going to a Zoom concert. Of course, I'd rather be in the room, but some people have had concerts and performed my music in Baltimore, in California, this Audrey Yoder. And I would never have even seen the concert before this. Now we were all sort of going like, oh, you can do a Zoom. So you can actually hear the concert, even though you're not there in person. That's really a big plus, which I hope it doesn't stop after this, because to be able to be together with people, you know, in Germany and California and wherever they are, it's so amazing. It's great. You know, the new communication is really a plus. Just keep going. Do whatever my advice to young singers is just do whatever you can do, and with whoever you can do it with, and try to stay positive. Keep practicing. keep learning, because there's always time. There's never enough time to practice. You could never run out of what you need to do to study, you know. We all know that.
That's very true. No, well said, Ellen. That's very true. Because mundane sometimes takes over, and it does take an effort to actually go and rehearse and continue learning, especially for us singers. And I'm going to speak for me. I don't want to, but I think it's actually a common thought that I need to have a goal. I need to have a reason to study, to learn the role, to rehearse, you know, and work through the material. If I don't have that goal, be it a performance, a concert, or opera, or something to that effect, it's hard to find motivation to keep on going. But it's so much worth it. It's just worth it for our soul.
Oh yeah, it's funny because I feel for myself that if I don't play something, do some music, you know. Usually on Sunday, I don't do much of anything. It's sort of like just a downtime because it's so intense, but I just need it. I just want it. And I've been playing a lot of Mozart, and I'm not going to perform that. I'm not a classical pianist of that caliber to perform Mozart sonatas, but I just love playing them and studying them. It's so great, you know, well, I mean, my goal is to get better at it, you know, and you feel it. I feel it pulling me like, oh, if I could just get this allegro, really allegro, then how much fun would it be? And it gets more and more fun the better you get. You know, it's great. But it's also just this, the joy of being involved with this material is so wonderful. And just whatever it is that I go through phases of wanting to play different kinds of music, you know. Whatever it is, it's always so fascinating, you know, and so addictive. You just want, you know, I don't know how you feel. I just want that physical, mental.
That's who we are. Yeah.
You know, I just want to do it. you know.
Yeah.
So we have a question from Lisa. Is there a published volume of your songs focused on various voice ranges that voice teachers can introduce their students to your songs?
That is such an interesting question. It's something I haven't thought about. I have made songbooks of my Cummings songs and my Yeats songs and the Haiku NYC myself. And the Royal Conservatory actually published a couple of my songs in their repertoire books, the Toronto Conservatory. It's very, very nice. And I forget that those are graded, but I've never thought about, you know, I just write the songs in a key, and they tend to be kind of a medium key. They're not super high, they're not super low. Mm-hmm. And then I don't mind transposing. So that's what I've had available. I haven't done, you know, making them all be, you know, within a certain range. Mm-hmm. It's something I could think about. More technical kind of secretarial administrative work, you know, getting the book together, making sure the typos are out, all that stuff.
Right.
It's a bit of work, yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for the question, Lisa.
That's great. Oh. Okay. Wonderful. I don't think we have any more questions from the audience. Any words that you would like to add, Ellen?
Just sing and play music and listen to music and as much as you can, because it's good. Mine also, mine included. But just music is the greatest. I mean, you know, it's brought us together today. It's just every kind is so full of goodness. It sounds so corny.
Last question. Sorry.
I just said that sounds so corny, but it's what I think.
I have the last question for you, if you will, Ellen, and I think it's an important one. What is your take on specifying that you are a female composer? Well, you are, number one.
I am. I'm a she, her, hers person. I never really cared about that. I just sort of figured I'm just me and I write music, and so I'm a composer. But then recently, people are looking for female composers, and they're finding me because they're looking for female composers, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with looking for female composers, and because we are so underrepresented in the academy and in performances and the repertoire of people through history, so hidden and so unperformed and unnoticed. And I had never thought of it that way, you know, in my life, in my professional career. But I've certainly, when I think about it in that way, I've certainly noticed that there are some male composers that seem to get performed an awful lot, a lot more than I do, who I think, why, you know? So maybe the gender, maybe, I always figure it's just connections, but.
I understand. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate your time today, Ellen. So wonderful to have you with us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. So great to talk to you. Great to meet you. Great to see you again, Emma.
It's great to see you, Ellen. It's wonderful to talk to you today. So yeah, I encourage everyone to go to Ellen's website. It's here on the banner, and I'll just add it in the comments as well. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone who joined this podcast. I hope you have a wonderful day. It's a great day here in New York City and New Jersey.
Gorgeous day. Yes, I'm going to go back outside and enjoy it. Thank you so much for having me. What a pleasure talking with you. You ladies. I call everybody guys, but you know, opportunity name. It's really nice. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you
so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for being with us.
Oh, a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.